Now, we are moving into the most exciting part, Fireside Chat, the transformation journey of NTU Singapore. Before I pass over the time to Sandeep, our moderator for this section, I would like to give you some more background on Esther, Alvin, and Sandeep. Esther is the Chief Human Resources Officer responsible for all people matters in NTU to create an employee experience that enhances the way the university works, communicates, and interacts. Trained in NTU in mechanical and production engineering, Esther spent 20 over years supporting a wide variety of industries and global companies, including GE, Motorola, and Microsoft, in engineering, project management, and HR roles. Esther is a certified Six Sigma Black Belt in HR and is passionate about drawing people insights using data. As NTU's Chief Information Officer, Alvin focuses on building stronger collaborations with students, faculty, and staff through systems and technology solutions. Alvin is currently spearheading the multi-year IT strategic plan to modernize the IT portfolio and create a connected university based on cloud-first, mobile-enabled, data-informed, and security-by-design digital platforms. His efforts have paid off with the University Garnering Technology Awards in 2021, and himself being recognized as the CIO of the Year Leadership at the 2020 CIO 50 ASEAN Awards. Since April 2021, Sandeep is the president for Workday Asia, responsible for business operations in the region. In his current role, Sandeep is passionate about collaborating with customers, partners, and communities to make the world of work and business better through relentless innovation. Prior to Workday, Sandeep was Vice President, Enterprise Business for Nokia's Cloud and Network Services Division. Sandeep has also led the leadership positions with NICE and Oracle, helping enterprises in Asia-Pacific region shape their digital transformation journey. Now, are you ready for the Fireside Chat?
We are a research-intensive public university with 33,000 undergraduate and postgraduate students in engineering, business, science, humanities, arts, and social sciences. We have been ranked among the top university by QS, the top young university for the past 7 years. We recently launched the NTU 2025 strategic plan with 3 major goals: achieve uniformity of excellence, grow NTU national and global impact, and foster transformative interdisciplinary interactions across our colleges, schools, and research centers. All these goals are supported through 3 enablers: talent, technology, and financials. In short, NTU has a people-centered culture enabled by technology. Our focus is on making changes that really matter to our stakeholders and to make NTU a place for exceptional people.
Our digital transformation journey started in 2018. Currently, we are at the tail end of the first 3-year roadmap. We are transforming our infrastructure from a highly aging infrastructure to a modernized, cloud-first, mobile-enabled, data-driven, and security by design. Workday was one of the very first cloud applications that we implemented for NTU. And we chose Workday because it's a highly modern HR platform, and Workday being born in the cloud, which is mobile-enabled, fits perfectly into our digital roadmap.
On the people front, I'm particularly proud of our Workday at NTU implementation. Our tagline, "People Matters Anytime, Anywhere," was powerful. Workday was selected to streamline 65 various in-house HR applications into one integrated system. Faculty and non-faculty roles now have access to a common set of HR standards and processes that is easy to deploy, user-friendly, and meets the stringent academic appointment and retention requirements. An example is the payroll administration for some 600 part-time lecturers. It used to be a 2 to 3 week manual process. With Workday, Part-time lecturers submit timesheets online 24/7 and they are paid in a timely manner. Adaptive planning has allowed HOD to be forward-looking in headcount planning to support their business strategy, allowing HR to work with finance on optimizing the effectiveness of NTU's manpower costs.
Workday also improves our access to data in one place and helps us in our decision making, enabling our staff and heads of departments to be more effective in their work.
Well, one of the things is that we definitely have greater process visibility. An example would be tracking of our recruitment and appointment dossiers. At any point of time, previously we didn't have this. And as we all know, if you're going after the top talent in the world, you need to be quick and you need to be responsive.
Workday at NTU is more than just an investment in technology transformation. It's a new employee interface for our HR needs, a new employee experience, and a step change in the way we work, communicate, and interact.
Esther and Alvin, a very, very warm welcome to our Fireside chat. It's my distinct pleasure and honor to be anchoring this chat together with the two of you. I really hope that this was something we could have done in person together. And I wish there was also a fireside by our side. And I hope in the days ahead, we do get the opportunity of doing something similar. Esther, really, really inspiring tagline. NTU has people matters anytime and anywhere. It's really awesome to see such a big focus on people throughout the university. In these COVID times, how are you all managing? Are students and professors and staff coming on campus, or are you all kind of working from home?
For NTU, actually, it's still open. We still have students coming in, but I would estimate now maybe just 10 to 20% of the students are still in the campus. Most of us is already on term break. So we are slightly different from other organizations where default is work from home. So it is mostly we work from home, but there are some of us that because of the need to support the students, we are still back in campus.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I know that you like hiking. Have you, is this a habit now you have kind of accelerated on a daily basis or just once a week? How do you go about that?
I still do my walk every day. After dinner, I will walk with my husband in the park. That still continue. I think that's the only exercise I get, and I would really want to keep trim, fit, and healthy still. But I do miss, going to Hong Kong, for the hiking in the islands. That's one thing I miss most.
I hope the opportunity for that presents here in the days ahead, sooner rather than later. And Alvin, I know for a fact that you go to the office every day. All the restaurants are closed. How do you manage lunch? You have to let us in on some secrets here.
Well, we have some options on campus. We have quite a lot of fast food chains around. So my lunch oscillate between McDonald's, Kentucky, Long John Silver, and the Subway. But I'm doing fine.
Yeah, and I hope that you become some regular discounts from these outlets as you order from them on a daily basis, I would imagine.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah. So Esther, very, very interesting transformation journey, right? I mean, in your video, you talked about 65 applications combining and eliminating and moving on to one platform. And going down this journey, how important did you find HR in NTU's digital transformation initiative?
How we live and work today, it's so significantly different from just 5 years ago. And the world is truly disrupted by technology and digitization, Sandeep. I think if HR can't hire and enable a future-ready workforce, even institutes of higher learning like NTU cannot survive in this age. I think today, HR is needed more than ever to attract, develop, reskill, and also motivate our talent.
That's wonderful to hear. And as you went about looking for a new HR system, Esther, what were the three main objectives, if you were to highlight three objectives, and how does Workday fit into that?
I think most important for me, the three objectives are first, an integrated system. You heard Alvin talk about 65 bespoke HR system. It is important that we mitigate the risk of, one or two of this old legacy system breaking down. When my boss was hiring me, she said, Esther, what we are using now in HR, some of the system is as old as when you were a student here. So to me, that one integrated system is very important, most important, to consolidate all the 65 over bespoke HR system. Another important factor that I considered was the one end-to-end HR solutioning platform. I think it's important to remember that HR is a system whereby it touches everybody. So it's important that we have great user experience, because after all, we are a 10,000 strong faculty and staff organization. And third, I think a single source of truth data is important. You cannot imagine how data was stored previously. We have data, headcount data, with residing in the schools, in the autonomous institutes, and it's difficult for any one report to be available. It took a processing time of 3 days to a week, versus now, all this information is at my fingertip. So these are the three important factors that I considered.
Awesome. I mean, incredible, right? I mean, 3 days, several weeks versus instantly available. I mean, that's a sort of running in the now that is needed to own the heart of the digital acceleration. And Alvin, as you hear these things, right, 65 on-prem systems, you can touch and, I mean, it's disparate, but you can touch and feel them, you can see them, and then all of a sudden everything vanishes in the cloud. So what are the factors which drove the adoption to move to the cloud?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Sandeep. Let me just provide some background just for the audience. So prior to 2018, NTU has been operating with a legacy of more than 650 in-house built bespoke software applications, including the HR system, which made up of 65 of these systems. So these systems, as you can imagine, were increasingly difficult to maintain due to obsolete technology platform and also skills shortage. Not to mention the inability to leverage on popular end-user devices, such as our smartphones. So in 2018, we embarked on the digital transformation journey with a new IT strategy, which was based on cloud-first, mobile-enabled, data-driven security by design guiding principles. And some of the factors that drove us to adopt a cloud-first or SaaS platform were, number one, rapid scalability, as the on-prem platform was on-premise and it was not so scalable compared with a cloud or SaaS platform. Second was the improved user experience because of availability of user-friendly mobile-enabled apps, which can be accessible via smartphones. And thirdly, our legacy systems couldn't integrate easily with the new systems that we will be putting in place in NTU. So a cloud and a SaaS platform with built-in microservices and APIs would allow us to do that. And our decision to basically pivot to the cloud and SaaS platforms reap and harvest great benefits, and was validated during the pandemic last year, which NTU was able to continue functioning and scale up our resources very quickly for more than 40,000 faculty, staff, and students when we had to work from home or be based on home-based learning, and when in-person activities were all not possible.
Wow, that's quite an impressive list of things that you were looking to do, and matching them with Esther's priorities also. And so as you go through the evaluation process, how did you end up trying to decide and end up selecting the best partner for this cloud journey?
Sure. Selecting the best partner on the cloud journey was definitely a very important and I would say crucial decision. So in our case, there were two partners that we had to look at. So there was a systems integrator as well as a product partner, of which a product partner would refer to like Workday and maybe even the payroll partner. So for the systems integrator, we basically look for a partner who is experienced, a partner who has been there, done there, a partner who is competent, a partner who understands our requirements, is able to bridge the gap between what we want as well as the best practices in the industry, and also a partner who is committed to take us through the change management journey. As for the product platform partner, we consider the innovativeness of their vision, their product roadmap, whether they are always evolving, always improving, and whether the product partner engages with customers on the product roadmap, and whether the platform has inbuilt tools for analytics, for data integration, just as two examples.
Excellent, excellent. And Esther, as Alvin and the extended team, I'm sure there are members from your side, you're looking at these capabilities, etc. Eventually, what Workday modules were selected as part of your rollout? And I understand there were 2 phases of rollout. How did you prioritize these in the phases?
NTU uses most of the Workday available modules, actually except benefits and payroll, where Workday is integrated with our third-party vendors to pay employees and administer our flex benefits. Now, phase 1 went live 1st April 2019. We went live with core HCM, absence and pay modules actually. And then on October 1st, 2019, we went live with learning, recruitment, performance management, and also advanced comm modules. Now, beyond phase 2, we have also launched Adaptive Insight for workforce planning, and also our NTU HRIS team continues to explore existing Workday modules and also robotic process automation to enable faculty processes, including promotion and tenure process, faculty hiring, appointment and reappointments. Just here to share, we also conduct monthly friends and family roundtables, an effort for continuous improvement to share with HR colleagues on what is the latest improvement we have made. We also share roadmap of what other improvements we can expect. And through this platform, we have used Workday. You have a custom object available in Workday. We use that and implemented other HR-related processes like our yearly declaration of conflict of interest on Workday. So these are things that which I like about Workday. You know, we can continuously use custom object, and we continuously have revisions that we can actually improve upon what we are doing, and other improvement that we can explore, especially with Provost Office.
Lovely. And Alvin, I'm sure that you find Esther to be a very demanding internal customer. She's got this big transformation going on. I mean, obviously there are drivers from your side. You got multiple systems to retire, and while you're doing that, it's almost like changing engines on the fly. And so it's not an easy job, right? I mean, it takes time to think through how to go through this transformation. And so in your mind, what were the keys to make the project a success? What do you think really drove that? And are there any preparation tips for our audience that you'd like to share with them in terms of how they could make their transformation journey successful?
Yeah, sure, Sandeep. I just, first of all, want to say that Esther and I, we work together very well. And because we work together very well, I would like to believe that the project was implemented very smoothly. Almost within 18 months, we got both phases rolled out. So as to the keys for the project success, there are actually many, many keys, but maybe I can just highlight just 3 of them based on our experience. So the first key would be change management. I think change management is really something very important. We have to communicate the vision for change. We also need to enlist the support of leadership as well as our colleagues for change. We have to get their commitment for change, and there has to be organizational alignment, and we have to communicate. So that's the first point. I think second point, which is quite important for us, would be the establishment of key guiding principles among all colleagues as to how this digital transformation will play. And what I just highlight maybe 2 principles. So one of them that we adopt as we move into the SaaS and cloud platform would be the principle of no customization, only configuration. So that's the first principle we have. The second principle that we have is that of looking into our processes and seeing how we can simplify and standardize them across the entire university. And that's, as you can see, in a university where we have 40 over 1,000 faculty, staff, and students, that's not something very easy to do, but nevertheless, that's quite important. The third key, I would say, would be to really build a strong team, and not just a strong team, but also to foster teamwork among people. So we need to get the relevant people involved from the beginning and build teamwork, and then to be prepared for changes. And some tips for starting the transformation journey. I would say that once we agree on a strategic plan, IT roadmap, it's important to also have agreement on the priorities, what are more important to be executed, and enlist the help of co-champions, get funding, of course, from the CFO and the top management. And last but not least, to build a strong team in-house to be able to execute on the vision and the plan. Of course, also to have strong partners to work with us.
Wonderful. I'm sure these tips are going to be taken to heart by the audience. Very, very relevant and not easy, right? I mean, thinking about change management and communication, these are big things by themselves, but then you add in the fact that you have a guiding principle of no customization, only configuration. And these are not simple things to do. There has to be commitment all the way from the top. And Esther, I asked Alvin about the fact that you're driving the requirements, and he said the two of you work very closely. And I'm certain that as colleagues, you've had to collaborate very, very closely on this project. But let me ask you this. Have you discovered anything new about Alvin in this process as you've gone through this change? And Alvin, don't worry, I'll come back to you as well.
So I would say that Alvin is a great team player. I truly enjoy working with Alvin. And I think, we can come to where we are today, I would say, Alvin really is there for me all the time. And there are instances where I went to him for help and for extra money even, actually. And he helped. Maybe I can just write on what Alvin said about the change management piece. I think I want to add on a couple of critical success factors. I think important really to have strong sponsorship right from chairman level. And I would say this, we are very fortunate to have our chairman, our ex-chairman, the board of our trustee, Koh Boon Hui. With his support, I had many opportunities to share and showcase what they can offer. It is especially critical, because through that, I have got many opportunities to share with senior faculty members, including provosts, deans, chairs, to ensure they're on board. I think that's one very, very critical, important success factor. And I think that Workday gave a great suggestion. And so we did identify Workday champions in all the schools, the departments, and the Penn University Research Center. It is critical because, these are the change agents. They are engaged with us all the way, right from when we designed and we did the solutioning, all the way to we test and then go live. These are folks we ask for feedback and share previews with along the way. I think the third very important factor for me is that, it's one HR team from central office to share services to the business, HR business partner across the campus to partner with faculty affairs, including Associate Provost herself. This team not only standardized, which you heard from Alvin, there are actually 16 schools, and not to mention all the autonomous institutes. It is not easy at all, but we have to standardize, and not only standardize, but we have to design and co-create, improve HR processes so that it can really fly, because that's expected of us. So the power of co-ownership to ensure all the voices are heard and opportunity to make step improvement. So that's number 3 critical success factor in my opinion. And the 4th success factor I think is important, is early employee engagement. Now this part, I would say that, closer to go live date, we held 6 employees experience workshop, and it touched 1,300 employees. And in this workshop, we give them very light demo of what they can do on their mobiles, And we design and play treasure hunts using and asking information that they need to explore using Workday on their mobiles. I think these are four very critical success factors. And I think without the whole team and also partnership from Workday, we wouldn't have been successful.
Yeah, getting that buy-in at the top leadership level, at the board level, is so critical for such a major transformation project. And having those just in line with the change management process that Alvin identified, having the change agents and the change champions, if you may, in different schools, etc., also becomes very, very critical as part of that. Alvin, I said I'll come back to you and see if you learned anything about Esther in this entire process.
I think I work very well with Esther, and Esther is a colleague who is very authentic, and she gives very good feedback. But one thing I certainly learned about her is I'm quite amazed that she really has a very good appetite for food, but she's able to still maintain a very fit and slim profile. I think that's something I find quite amazing. So I've got to learn this from her.
Yeah, I think those are some tips that many of us would enjoy on the call. So maybe, Esther, we have to set up a separate call to get those tips from you. Esther, back to you. From a change management and digital transformation perspective, I mean, clearly there are three parts which come together, right? There is people, process, and technology. And how do you kind of prioritize these with the alignment of HR strategy, and why?
I think high-performing and engaged workforce is what I want to drive. So to me, very important is the employee's experience and readiness for now and future. Now, Workday is a great enabler for me in this aspect. In the last 5 years, we have built comprehensive suites of reskilling and retraining learning solutions across different employees levels and through job families. And all these are actually now readily available in Workday at NTU through the learning module. And we also have several other learning partners and their portals to help augment that. So while we try to push the employees, it's important that we have to remember that employees themselves own their career aspiration and development, and they also own their own pace. So using Workday at NTU, it enables that platform for them to pace themselves. And I will also say this, the pandemic has accelerated everything we had previously talked about, as an organization to the forefront. We talk about digitization, agility, resilience, and sustainability. Now, when COVID hit us in January last year, I actually see tremendous organization agility and personal agility everywhere, mostly enabled by the people, processes, and technology engines we have put in place earlier. I see visible leadership, I see integrated teams, I see consistent students and employee engagement, and accelerated the digital technology adoption that facilitated you can't believe, thousands of lessons, hundreds of assessments, career fairs, open house, voluminous end-to-end transaction all went online and at very short notice. Now, the changes to practices, policies, and physical environment actually facilitated the smooth reopening of the university. And I'm very proud that we enabled the safe return of employees to the workplace with minimum loss of efficiency and effectiveness. If anything, I think this pandemic actually helped us change mindset of our leaders, the team, especially faculty. They sometimes they're not so fast in adopting some technology, but it has truly accelerated the embracing of technology. I think this is one of the good things out of COVID.
There's such an amazing story, right? I mean, it's the entire university coming together to be more agile in the face of adversity. And I must follow up that with a question, Esther, for you. And clearly, I mean, there is so much to be learned from your journey. But if you were to share with the audience whether Workday was able to help NTU respond and stay agile in this transition period, as well as you're going through the COVID times.
I think the biggest help for me, it's the data. You cannot imagine when I first joined NTU, when I mouse over my name in Outlook, I can't see who I report into and who reports into me. The organization chart is in somebody's drawer. And that was how I started. And through Workday, now the data is at my fingertips. Through this pandemic, the data is immediately there. I know which of my faculty and staff are actually stranded overseas, and I can actually bring them back. And I know who to engage with. Can you imagine if I'm still in the old days, the day I joined, when I don't have this data, it's going to be a challenge, just to confirm whether is this my staff or not. And also in the two months where we have lockdown during the circuit breaker, my HR colleagues did not have to come back to the campus, and we can ensure that we still manage to pay our employees. I think these are two things at least I can think of, that how Workday, how this adoption of technology has helped NTU and helped myself.
Wonderful. It's delightful to hear. And obviously employees are the heart and soul of an organization. And the fact that you care so much and you have technology enabling a higher degree of engagement means a lot. And Alvin, just as a follow-up to Esther's comments here, clearly the pandemic also has impacted rollouts of projects, etc. How did that impact the implementation of Workday? Clearly there were phases, some parts had completed before, but was there any sort of ongoing impacts to the implementation? And did you resort to any sort of remote implementation practices to help you guide through the pandemic?
Yeah, Sandeep, we implemented our Workday project in 2 phases way back in 2019. I think we were quite fortunate that we didn't have to encounter the pandemic, where under that scenario, we would certainly be hampered with the inability to meet in person. So fortunately, our Workday project was not impacted, but we do have other projects that we have managed to work through the lockdown and through the pandemic. And maybe I can just share a couple of lessons, just very quickly, a couple of lessons that we learned. I think first of all, it's important to have a very robust and sound technology infrastructure to support your video conferencing like Zoom and Teams, etc. You certainly need this in place. This platform is very important, but it will not replace in-person and face-to-face, because we find that face-to-face and in-person is still very important for building trust and building teamwork. It still has to be done in-person, face-to-face. And another lesson we learned from remote working is if you work with a vendor that is based overseas and due to border and travel restrictions, it might be difficult for them to deploy resources as easily as they could before the pandemic. So it's important for Plan B for these vendors to be able to augment their resources with local resources. And that's the point that we learned. And the other thing is also to factor in maybe some slight delays or some coordination due to time zone differences when you need to hold meetings with people from different parts of the world. So these are some very brief lessons that I thought just to share.
And so thanks for that, Alvin and Esther. And as you kind of look at the implementations done, you start out with a vision to transform, the transformation is done. Alvin, from your perspective, how did you measure and continue to measure the success of the digital transformation from an IT perspective?
Okay, so I would say just from my perspective, not necessarily just purely IT. So from my perspective, maybe I just give 3 points again. I think first of all, first thing I look at into digital transformation is the ability to improve user experience. So what it means is if staff can become more productive, like what Esther said, they can get their work done faster, anywhere, anytime, and they have access to data at their fingertips. I think that's the first measure of success of a digital transformation. Second is the improved organizational agility, the ability to move very fast, to change your business model, to pivot very fast and continue to the business can still continue to operate even in situations such as the pandemic that we face, and also cost efficiencies and return on investment for organizations. And maybe lastly, having through digital transformation and having a very sound and robust digital infrastructure, architecture, platforms, I think that would enable rapid deployment, and that will form a foundation to catalyze further growth and innovation. And it will also help us to, in terms of talent attraction and talent retention as well. In this day and age, is always having good IT talent is something very important. So these are some of my thoughts.
Wonderful. Esther, anything you want to add to that?
Actually, I was just thinking, reflecting on what Alvin shared. Maybe I would say, also, I have quite a few points, but I just shared 2 points. I think it's important, truly, to be future ready for the workforce. So there's a lot more that we have to enable them. So that's one focus, and we have to do better. And with all this, agility in learning and so on, it's also important that, I measure mobility of talent. Whether is it through lateral movement or is it vertical, as in promotion. Workforce these days is very different, right? We talk about lattice kind of a career growth, no longer just the hierarchical kind, vertical kind. So I think it's important. And Workday is, I will also say one more thing about Workday. It's able to help me, track employees' mobility also, whether it's it lateral move, vertical move. So I think these are 2 things important to me. Yeah.
Wonderful. I'd like to take some questions from the audience also. They've been busy sending in their questions. So let me just pick a few. Depending on how much time we have, we'll try to get through as many of those as possible. So Alvin, for you, you talk about like a 3-year transformation journey in the video. And beyond the Workday transformation, are there any other things that you're thinking about from a people and finance perspective that you're looking to transform?
For the 3-year roadmap, like I said, we are currently now in the tail end. The plan was started in FY18 all the way to FY21. So we are really at the end of the first 3-year roadmap, and we have so far managed to successfully transform finance as well, even as we transform the HR function. So we have successfully implemented a brand new system for finance. We have got the on a cloud platform. We have also transformed procurement and many of these areas. We have successfully done that. So what remains for the first 3-year roadmap would be our student management system. We are going to put in place a brand new integrated student management to replace something close to 200 over existing systems, which makes up the student management system. So you can see this is certainly a very big challenge ahead for us. And moving forward in line with our university's NTU 2025 strategy, we are also working out a fresh IT transformation plan, taking us to the year 2025. And that will cover education, research, administration, cybersecurity, as well as digital workplace. So we have some of these thoughts, but it's a bit hard to be talking over this panel discussion. So these are some brief thoughts that I thought just share with you and with the audience.
Esther, clearly many universities have similar challenges that they have to solve for. Are there any NTU specific nuances that you discovered that needed to be addressed as part of this transformation journey? Very specific to NTU that other universities may not necessarily be facing?
I guess I'll share 2. One that is really maybe just for all the university applicable to them too. It's about changing behaviors. When Workday first launched, every other day I receive an email or a phone call from Provost himself and say, "Oh, your system cannot do this." For example, a simple leave application, and he, Provost will have something to say, but and I'll keep reminding him what can be done and what cannot be done. And truly, I also promise him, as and when revision comes, for other improvement that he talks about, I continuously explore together with him. Now, it's important to also keep reiterating the message to some of our leaders and employees, because some change in behaviors have to be expected. You have to hold their hands, in this journey together, gently and then but surely have to hold together this journey. So I think this is one thing is going to be the same for all the university. One thing that is unique for NTU, maybe it's also just how our performance management is done. It caters to very specific, unique, different schemes of employees. Whether is it the faculty, the research, or the administration staff. Now, for the faculty staff, for the faculty, we have the rubric that we talk about, very unique. So whether they have whether is it teaching, research, and services, what kind of how are they measured? So this is something that we try as much as possible keep it the same, but it has a different interface, I guess. But in some of these things we try to keep it the same so that we minimize the impact to some of our faculty members.
And a follow-up question to that, Esther. As you're talking about performance appraisal, the way you appraise teachers is quite different from other staff, and the audience is curious as to how NTU does the assessment online. Do you have a standard process, online process, or are there different assessment dimensions embedded within Workday, specifically for teachers versus other staff?
So for teaching staff, whether is it the faculty and so on, we have certain rubric. We measure equally between teaching and research, for example, especially the faculty. Anybody that has a title that has, say, professor, whether it's assistant, associate, or full prof. So it is standardized. So you can imagine standardizing such things is not easy. And yes, we have gone through the pain through different interaction and iterations. So I would say that we have creatively used Workday and enabled that. And so far, we have gone through one round, and just recently, we have also completed our second round of appraisal. So far, it's completed. So we have gone through 2 rounds. It's all good.
Wonderful, delightful to hear that. Alvin, one question for you. The audience is asking what the platforms and systems were being used by NTU before Workday came on board. What systems did you end up replacing?
I can answer that. That was a in-house developed system for. It's based on one of the industry. I do not wish to mention the company's name. One of the most popular databases in the world. But that was a system that we used to develop almost 600 over applications. Everything you can think of that can be done on the campus was developed using the platform. And we used to have a policy very long ago of everything must be built in-house. Everything in-house is the best. So that was a starting point many years ago. But since 2018, we have really transformed the university, and now we have become more agile, more asset-like, I would say, and we are more future-ready, future-proof. And actually, the word that I'm now thinking of, we are future now. So we are in the future now.
Yeah, and Esther, as you move from such a custom environment to a more configurable environment, one question from the audience is, what is the biggest change that that people were resisting, that things were people were used to, and in terms of moving to a new platform, what was kind of the one thing that you found the most resistance to as they were moving to a new platform?
Actually, it's human nature. We just resist any kind of change. But I think I shared earlier, having that sponsorship, and also walking with sponsorship of leaders and walking the journey with them. I would say this: we continue have to be there for them, for the employees, for the leaders. Continuously build that trust and that relationship. That we are there for them, together with them. And there are many cases whereby I send staff, including my own personal assistant, to help with other personal assistant. And that is actually very, very good tip. Because if my PA can do it and coach the rest of the leaders' PA, we have high chances of success, because they will settle a lot of stuff for the managers, for their leaders, and so on. So in overall, I would say that it's back to winning them over one at a time, and just be there. do not shine away, and if anybody shout for help, we go. Because every single change you make is going to be painful for everyone.
Yeah. We see this a lot, right? I mean, we all get used to certain things, and as change comes, the first intuitive thing to do is to resist. And then as we understand more, it gets easier.
Yeah.
In terms of business outcomes, one question talks about how Workday has improved the professor hiring process at NTU. Have you noticed any changes? And this is for you, Esther.
Okay, so it's actually not so simple. We have used Workday in a very unique way. We even have search committee able to do the comments and upload dossiers and so on. So it's a lengthy process, and how are we able to give access to this different committee? I think most of us here online be familiar with search committee for the faculty members. Typically, it takes half a year to 1 year even, just to hire, especially, we call it big whales. So we start from there. I would think that for the faculty hiring, which you have also seen in the earlier video, the dean of our Nanyang Business School shared, there is takeaway. So it's about showcasing, it's about sharing what they can get out of it, and persistently. And I would say I wasn't afraid of setback when they say no, but I continue to partner with then our associate provost for faculty affairs. How can we truly value add to the process? And so we started from the search committee, and how do we then upload, and how do we get them to vote, and so on, until at every step of the hiring is visible and everybody knows where we are, whether it's at the offer level or whether we are still at the interview level, or we are flying in people at that point in time. We can still fly in people to do a site visit and so on. So the process becomes very visible, and we know where exactly it is, at which stage. So this helps, and we have actually honored what we promised. And so this helps in the overall, I guess, credibility of the system and credibility of HR.
Wonderful, wonderful. I know we are running short of time. There are lots of questions, but I'll just kind of take one final question, and I'll pose it to both of you. And I'd be really interested in get both your perspectives on this. And I think both of you emphasize, Esther, especially you, the importance of getting strong sponsorship, really from the chairperson of the entire university, also from the board level. And so were there any challenges getting that sponsorship, and what was the strategy that you used to get that sponsorship?
Maybe I start first. For me, for the chairman of the board of trustee is also my chairman for the RAMCOM. So I have, in a way, I have a direct line to him. So that helps. And also I'm a little bit more thick-skinned. So when, I just really have to reach out because, it's so important, and he understands. I would say that because, we started really bad, the baseline was really low, and he understands the pain, and he's one person who embraces technology himself. He understands what value, this whole adoption of technology and cloud is important to the whole of NTU. And it's not only to Workday, he continued to drive other technology adoption, including, using other platforms just for even board meetings, So he himself is a strong believer. Now, having his sponsorship is not enough. We have to continuously knock on all the deans and get invited to the dean's council meeting, knock on provost door so that I get invited to provost council meeting, and also with the research council. So it's a lot of this that has to happen. And I think it's important to get real good partners. I am very blessed, praise God, that I have a good provost, associate provost for faculty affairs. She partnered me all the way. And when I didn't get access to some of the deans, she helped me knock the door, and she just bring me along. So I think that is important. So I'm persevere.
Wonderful. Alvin, from your side?
Maybe I just share, just very quickly. I think to begin with, our board was already very supportive of the change. In fact, they were urging us and nudging us to change quicker. So that's something which I thought was good. Then in terms of executive sponsorship, I'm grateful for Esther and myself, our boss, who is the Senior Vice President for Admin, Tan Ek-na. I think she was the one also leading this change at the senior level. So she provided us some form of sponsorship from the President's Council, and she also provided some of her perspective when it came to very challenging issues and differences between how people work. For example, even things like the different, I recall even the different leave schemes also. So she was able to use her influence and authority to help us navigate all these change. So in summary, I think the executive sponsorship is very important for the success of this project. Certainly, Esther and myself would not be able to get this done without executive sponsorship, as well as our other colleagues also who from the admin council who were involved, like the CFO. So all these were equally important in making sure the project goes on track and is successfully implemented.
I think Ek-na, our boss, is a fearless and tireless leader. I said that of her during the launch itself. When there are days where the door wasn't open, she was there to chunk for us and chunk with us. So it is truly, and also the rest of the councils. We have so many councils here. Thanks to all the colleagues here, all the leaders here. Otherwise, I can't imagine, because Workday touches every single employee. It has to be embraced by everyone. And I would say this: the day that Workday went live, the day of launch, it was uneventful, which is great.
Esther and Alvin, thank you so very much for your deep insight and sharings with the audience here. I'm sure everyone's gotten a very, very unique perspective that they take away from the call today. And I've really enjoyed my talk with you. And I look forward to meeting up in person in the days ahead and to celebrating your future successes. I know that you talk about fearless leaders. I know two who are on this call, which is the two of you. And thank you very much for leading from the front. Our sincere thanks from Workday.